Hey guys, ViewMasters Reactions here, and this is the awaited spoiler review that I wanted to do of Endgame. I saw Endgame Thursday at 6 p.m. I saw the first showing in New Jersey of Endgame, as far as I know, the first showing. I was then going to do my spoiler talk, but friends talked me into going again at 2 in the morning Thursday night, technically Friday morning. If you want to call 2 a.m., technically it's Friday morning. Got home, showered, went to work, got home, watched it three more times into the AM of Saturday, which is now. Went to work today, got home, saw it again today. I have literally watched Endgame 6 times in less than 72 hours. It is, in my mind, the best comic book movie ever, hands down. I've seen it enough times now. Never have I done this with another movie. A lot of people are like, yeah, that's just because it's fresh on your mind. That's not the case. I've seen every MCU movie since Iron Man 1, the first Iron Man. I have seen every MCU movie in theaters with regards to maybe, I think, Thor 2, only because I wasn't a fan of Thor. So I waited till Thor came out on DVD or whatever. I might even be wrong about that, but I think Thor 2 is the only one I didn't see in theaters, but I've still seen it several times. But I have seen all of them pretty much since the beginning, all in theaters. Since Iron Man came out, I was on board. Iron Man, if you guys watch my video, is my favorite character in the MCU. I have been on board the whole time. Never in the 10 years have I seen even one of them twice. I think I saw Infinity War twice, but that's only because I wanted to see it in IMAX. And even though I think Infinity War is a tremendously good movie, it didn't have the impact that Endgame have. The only other Marvel movie I can remember having this sort of impact was Logan. And even Logan, I think I saw 2 or 3 times. Logan blew me away just because of like the emotional feel and like the fact that Hugh Jackman was Wolverine for like almost 20 years. Everything culminated to a point where I thought Logan was tremendously filmed. It was like an Oscar award-winning masterpiece in my mind, Logan. This, to me, Endgame is the same feels, only magnified tenfold because it's 3 hours of nonstop. There's no time in this movie. I ran to pee once, and in that once, I was told that was the best time to go. And even when I came back, I was like, people were like, dude, you don't know what you just missed. So I know what I missed now. Mind you all, I'm going to say it now. We're a good couple minutes in, but if you didn't read it before, this is a full-on spoiler alert. So I'm just going to tell it flat out. Maybe it's because my hero, my favorite character, Iron Man, dies at the end, that it emotionally grabbed me like no other comic book movie did. I went into this movie. I said, if you guys want, I also did a video on my pre-thoughts going into the movie. Me and my sister driving in the car to the premiere at 6 o'clock on Thursday. I gave my thoughts. I hands down thought Cap was dead. I think I was like Cap guarantee, then Black Widow, then Hawkeye, and then I think I said Iron Man, but I said Thor and Hulk were safe. I knew Thor and Hulk were 100% safe because Hulk is just coming around to like his whole arc, and Thor has a lot more to do and he has more deals on his contract. So I was like, that ain't happening. If you told me, you gave me like 10-1 odds on Iron Man dying, I wouldn't have took it because I was that confident they wouldn't kill Iron Man. And honestly, the way in which they did it, I thought was the way to go out. I hate when they kill heroes or they end characters in ways that are not fitting to what they've done over the course of their arcs. It started out, I am Iron Man, and it ended, I am Iron Man. Now, I'm going to go to the beginning of the movie because I want to talk about a lot. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. I wish I could do a live stream, but if you guys have watched my recent video, I just hit 1,000 subscribers. And on the premiere of Game of Thrones, I did something wrong on the live stream and I am now banned for 90 days. If you guys want, feel free to comment. I will respond to them and we will chat it up. Basically, as quick as I can through the things that I thought were crazy and the things that I think are plot holes. So to begin with, the movie starts, Hawkeye is with his family. It is pre-snap. He's teaching his daughter how to shoot an arrow. Boom, he turns around. They all ghosted. Is Hawkeye's daughter, she hit the bullseye. Is she going to be Kate Bishop? Kate Bishop in the comics is the next Hawkeye. She takes on the role of Hawkeye. They already said Hawkeye's getting his own show and that Kate Bishop will be part of it. Now, we already know Hawkeye's daughter is not named Bishop. Obviously, it's Clint Barton's daughter, so her last name is Barton. Maybe his daughter will be part of it. Maybe she won't. Maybe there'll be a whole new character called Kate Bishop. That's what I'm assuming. Then we have Iron Man in the ship with Nebula. Iron Man, I thought, died, guys. Now, I'm going to run through a couple things here, out of order maybe, but here's where I'm concerned with things. I love the movie. The movie is A+ in my book, 10 out of 10. I've seen it more than I've seen any Marvel movie this quickly. There are little things that bother me, like, one, when you start involving time travel, when Professor Hulk said that you have to understand, when we go back in time, the other one of you still does their timeline. For instance, when Nebula killed herself, she didn't die. Future Nebula didn't die because Hulk said it doesn't matter what you do. Even though it's in the past, you are still on alternate timelines. So when you kill old Nebula, future Nebula still exists. Unlike Back to the Future, when something happens, your past or future self cease to exist. Like the photograph in Back to the Future, his brother and sister, the images vanished and he started disappearing while playing Johnny Be Good. Or I should say, Earth Angel. He disappeared Earth Angel. Johnny Be Good was when he reemerged. In this, it's a different set of rules. People aren't understanding that. Now, mind you, I don't blame you because I saw it 6 times and it took me 2 or 3 times to finally pick that up. They're on different rules in this movie. You can live future self having killed past self. In the end, Thanos gets dusted. That's past Thanos. Past Thanos hasn't even got the gauntlet yet. He's coming to future world to get Iron Man's gauntlet so that he could just bypass what he did in the future and just get the gauntlet there and just end things as it is. He gets dusted there, but all the rest of it still happens and they still beheaded future Thanos in the garden. It's very confusing and hard to follow, but having watched it 6 times, this is what I got out of it, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct on these fronts. Professor Hulk. I wish they showed how Banner merged the two. I granted it's a 3-hour movie already, and how much could they show? But here's the other thing too. Banner goes, I'm the best of both worlds now. I'm smart and tough. I don't agree with that. Hulk is one of my favorite of all time. He's probably a close second to Iron Man, and only because Iron Man in these movies is so epically good. But Hulk is a close second. I loved Professor Hulk, don't get me wrong. I thought it was great. Ruffalo looked awesome. CGI was spot on. Everything about it was great. The only thing is, he loses the brutality of the Hulk. In my mind, that is like the best part of Hulk, when he loses his shit and is uncontrollable and goes crazy. I literally, when Black Widow died, I'm like, oh, here it comes. At the end, we're going to get Worldbreaker Hulk and like shit's going to go down. And he throws a bench over some trees and was like, guys, we got to focus, blah, blah. Now, granted, I give him credit for controlling his anger and learning how to harness both sides of Banner and Hulk and merge the two. But now it's kind of not my favorite character anymore. Part of my favorite thing about Hulk is that he is uncontrollable and he is unpredictable. They kind of took that away. He's still a favorite of mine, but it kind of like, honestly, like other characters are jumping ahead now. I kind of dig Thor more now because Thor is more the reckless, unpredictable type. He's got a friggin' beer belly. He like let himself go. The funny thing about this is Thor was probably one of my least favorite going in. Don't get me wrong. He's great, but all of them are great. Thor was probably one of my least favorite of the original 6. Now Thor has like leaped ahead. Thor might be my number 2 now, followed by Professor Hulk and Cap, kind of neck and neck. Then you got Hawkeye and Black Widow. I adore them too, but like you got to have favorites. It also appears that Banner isn't as smart as Hulk Banner, Professor Hulk. He made many mistakes in his experiments. He was like when he did the whole Scott Lang thing where he was like a baby Scott Lang and then an old Scott Lang and stuff like that. Granted, they probably did it for comedic relief and stuff like that. But Banner is supposed to be the smartest in the universe. I don't know if the MCU follows the comic books, but as far as I know, isn't Banner smarter than Stark? Because they made Stark smarter than Banner in this. Stark is doing the dishes and is like, bingo, I figured out time travel, quantum realms, blah, blah, blah. And he goes back and he solves the problem. I don't mind that because Iron Man, Tony Stark is my favorite, but they make Tony Stark out to be the smartest person on Earth, basically. Whereas I'm pretty sure in the comics Banner is. I could be wrong. I know they're both up there, but I feel like by Banner merging the two, he's less smart and less brute. I don't know if I like it as much as I like having the two alter egos. I believe that in the end, when Cap is entering the quantum realm thing to return the stones, Hulk's arm is fried. He's in a sling. It is because he tells Cap, I tried to go back and save Black Widow, but it just can't be, kind of thing. We are told by Red Skull, or whoever Red Skull is in that entity on the planet where they get the Soul Stone, even with the Infinity Gauntlet and the power to do anything, you cannot alter the history of who sacrificed themselves for the Soul Gem. Hence why we do not have Gamora, hence why we do not get Black Widow at the end. We do have new Gamora, who also disappeared at the end, which is another topic. Was Gamora dusted? We have past Gamora, who came back with past Thanos. So now we have a new Gamora in our future. Or did she get dusted? I'm willing to bet if she got dusted, we would have been told. She's probably going to pop up in Guardians 3, but she does not have the relationship with Quill that she had before she sacrificed herself in the future. She is Gamora pre-Guardians. So that's going to be interesting to watch if they do bring that up in 3, but that's for another time too. Professor Hulk did say, I tried to go back and save Black Widow, but it just didn't, I couldn't. I feel like that's why he looked like he was getting more hurt than he was. I think he tried to break the rules of the gauntlet or the stone and go back and save Natasha. And because he tried to, the gauntlet was like, no, you're not allowed to do that. And incinerated like his arm and fried him. Now, a lot of people also say, why did Tony not get fried like Hulk did when Tony used it at the end? I think that's because, like I said, Tony just went boom and we're going to switch things back. Whereas Hulk tried to break the rules. So he got more affected by it, even though he's much more physically strong than Tony Stark. Don't forget this too. The gauntlet that was used in the end of the movie wasn't Thanos's created gauntlet. It was Tony Stark's nanotech gauntlet. Tony is nanotech. Maybe his gauntlet doesn't hurt him as much as it hurt Hulk. Hulk was in just a quantum suit. Iron Man is in full nanotech armor. Maybe because it was a nanotech gauntlet, the suit that Tony wears could sustain more of the damage and basically like allow him to like not immediately die. I'm assuming there's nanotech science to it, whereas the Hulk just popped on a gauntlet wearing his regular clothes. And he tried to break the rules by getting Natasha saved from the Soul Stone. So I feel like all that comes into play. Now, here's the things that bother me. Loki basically escaped. Where did Loki go? He picked up the cube and boom, vanished. Now, I know they're setting up the new Disney Plus show that's going to be a spinoff with Loki. But whatever, like the what? They just let Loki, like, boom, that's it? No explanation. Loki just vanishes. Now, I get it. There are different timelines. We've already explained this earlier in my video that there are different timelines. So if past Loki escapes, there is still future Loki. Because like I said, past Nebula got killed and we still have future Nebula. So even though past Loki escaped, future Loki still dies. But that was totally unexplained. I'm guessing they'll explain it in the spin-off show, but that was very bizarre to me that they just let Loki teleport out. And people were like, hey, where'd Loki go? And they acknowledge it, but that was it. He could do so much now. He could go around altering all sorts of shit. We don't know where that's going to go. Then at the end, I'm jumping all over here, guys. I apologize. I'm just I have nothing written down. I wanted to go off the cuff. So I'm sorry if I'm jumping around and I'm probably going to miss a bunch of things. So maybe I'll do another video. When Cap was basically like going to do a Jon Snow and run into Thanos' army by himself and Falcon radios on your left, wizard portals open up and everyone starts walking through. This Hulk snap, if that only reversed the people that got dusted, why were there so many Asgardians? Why were there so many Wakandians and stuff like that? Now, granted, there was probably still a large army of Wakandians, but you got to remember the Asgardians, half of them were killed. Then half of that half was killed in the snap. They did show us that Thor was like the ruler of New Asgard on Earth, but we never see the armies or anything. Where did all of like the Doctor Strange wizards come from? I feel like there were armies of people that we were never introduced to that were just kind of there for the sake of needing the army. That could be nitpicking, but I feel like there were way too many armies of people that we were never introduced to. I'm not trying to upset people by saying this. It's just, to me, I want believability, even though it is a Marvel movie. I just find it hard to believe that there was like 10 or 12, maybe 14, 15 different women. They all came together into that one spot and they're all like, we got your back. I don't know. It just seemed very forced. Two women are the most OP of all the characters, I'd think, in this whole fight. Why do you got to force girl power in one spot on the battleground? You got tens of thousands of soldiers fighting together, especially after they already had Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch like running shit. Like Scarlet Witch probably had the coolest thing. Like Thanos is like, who are you? I don't know you. And she's like, you will. And basically was shredding armor off him. And he was screaming in air, floating like, rain down fire. Like he was dead. Scarlet Witch had his number. I don't know. It's almost like you made light of the main women's abilities by being like, we got your back. And then all the women come together. I don't know. But I just feel like when they do things like that, it's to force feed you like, hey, girl power, we got you. Like, you don't need girl power like that. We already got it. One of the biggest things that doesn't make sense to me, Captain America. First off, how did Cap just stay back in time and not disrupt anything? You're telling me that Cap went back in time, put all the stones back without an issue, and then stayed with Peggy, and they lived out 50, 60 years back in time with Peggy, and nothing came of it? He didn't try to help Bucky, his friend. He didn't try to stop things. He didn't try to involve himself when the world was being destroyed. Granted, he does know in the future all works out, so he doesn't have to step in, but you're telling me that not once his conscience didn't get the best of him and he's like, maybe I should go save Bucky or prevent other things from happening? That just seemed a little too unrealistic for the sake of having Captain America have a happy ending. Granted, I bought into it and I loved the last dance and the way they had whatever. There was no end credit scenes. I dug that too. I dug having no end credit scenes. Having an end credit scene would have took away from the ending, and I get it and I appreciate it. It was great the way it ended, and you really could take it all in without having to be like, oh my God, where's this going next? But I also don't like that he gave the shield to Sam. I dig Falcon. I dig Bucky. I probably like Bucky a little more just because Bucky's got more powers, more abilities, and more story behind him. Don't get me wrong. I think Falcon deserves the shield more. He's more pure at heart. He's more all-American and stuff like that. I totally agree. But he's human. Bucky is a super soldier. I feel like even though Bucky's had his issues and his history with America, he's like a terrorist in their eyes from a lot of it. I mean, granted, we've wrapped all that up that he's not, and it wasn't his fault, and he was brainwashed and all this. But a lot of the general public might still have a view of him as being a terrorist in that world. So I get it. And I do know that Sam is literally all American, but he's a human. So unless in the next phase, they're going to give him some sort of abilities or have him like a super soldier or something like that, maybe he gets a serum or something himself. I don't know. All I know is that Bucky is the super soldier. Bucky's been around since Cap. He should have gotten the shield. I don't understand why they gave it to Sam. Granted, in the comics, both Bucky and Sam have gotten it, but in the comics, Sam has abilities. Put it this way, he's not super human in the comics, but he has more abilities than he does in the movies. I just feel like the clear choice would have been Bucky. Cap can hold his own because he has superpowers. That is what you need in a Captain America. The face of America needs a superhuman person. Who wants to see Sam go up against a foe like Thanos and get smacked to death? It's just going to happen. It's inevitable. Bucky has proven to be that powerhouse of a guy where he can hold his own for the most part. He's gone against some big time people. He went against Iron Man. He went against Cap. He went against the entire Avengers back in Winter Soldier. As far as Iron Man dying at the end, I loved everything about it. I really thought at the end there that Thanos was going to win and he snapped again and then he flips it around and Tony stole all the gems. Tony makes his own gauntlet, nanotech. He does his snap. It was so poetic the way Thanos is like, I am inevitable. And then Tony's like, yeah, I am Iron Man. And friggin' boom. And he literally gets charred. I had seen it, like I said, 6 times. I didn't realize the first or second time, I don't think. But Tony, the side of his body that he had the gauntlet on, is badly burned. He is like, if you look at it from the side, it's like grotesque, like Pet Cemetery looking, like destroyed. He is fried. I was so shocked the first time that I didn't really take it all in. Having watched it multiple times now, when Peter Parker squats down by him, Tony doesn't even say anything. It's almost like he is so gone because of the power of the gauntlet. He's like staring at Peter Parker, but it's almost like he doesn't even know who he's looking at or seeing. Then Gwyneth Paltrow, who is Pepper Potts, removes Peter Parker's like, calm down, blah, blah. And then she's like, Tony, it's okay. It's time to rest. We'll be all right. Everything's okay. And he looks at her and it is so heartbreaking because I still don't think he even gets like a word out. He kind of like mumbles. He might say like something, but like, it is devastatingly sad because Pepper, everyone knows he's dead. Like, it's like, that's it. No two ways about it. He is dead. And it's just so sad because like Pepper is just like, don't worry about me. Don't worry about your daughter. Don't worry about us. You saved us all. We'll figure it out from here. Like, you did all you could and we understand. And like, it's just so sad the way he goes. They did him justice. They wrap it all up. They have the big funeral. They don't do things like in Justice League where they're like, yeah, he's dead, wink, wink, like floating dust. No, he is fucking dead. Like, he might come back later, like decade later. They could do whatever they want. Comics have done it. There's time travel introduced now, so they could probably bring him back if they want. But in all honesty, coming from a fan, coming from a huge lover of Iron Man, my number one dude, I think they did it right. 10 years plus of Iron Man, and it all came to this, and he sacrificed himself, just like how I felt about Wolverine and Logan. I kind of don't want him to bring him back. I hope they just carry on his legacy through another person, like that becomes Iron Man or something like that. I don't want them to ruin it for me. It's like, honestly, like Walking Dead, they killed Rick. And I bought it and I was like, all right, that sucks, but Rick is dead. And then at the end, wink, wink, Rick's not dead. Then it like Justice League, wink, wink, Superman's not dead. It takes away from the emotion. I don't want that. Iron Man's my dude. He died. He went out like a baller. And that's how I want it to stay. I don't want him to come back. If you bring more Iron Man in, fine, do another guy. I don't want Robert. If you want, bring him back in AI. Maybe have Robert Downey Jr.'s voice or something like that. Like he came back in a hologram form for his daughter. Maybe do that, but don't bring him back. I'm happy. He ended as a baller, as a hero. He is the shit. That's how I want to remember him. One more thing. At the very end of the credits, we hear tink, tink, tink. Now, I am assuming that is Iron Man from the first movie when he's inside the cave building his first Iron Man suit, like a little shout out to Iron Man kind of thing. That's what I believe it is. People were saying they think it's Beta Ray Bill. Now, if you don't know who Beta Ray Bill is basically an alien from another planet who basically looks like Thor, but in the form of like a horse. Now, in the comics, he is the first one to ever wield Thor's hammer, which is basically the biggest thing about Beta Ray Bill. Now, they already can't do that in the movies because Vision's held it and Cap's held it. Now Thor is teamed up with the Guardians and he flies off with them and Beta Ray Bill is out in space. A lot of people are speculating that Beta Ray Bill is going to be in Guardians 3 or they're going to run into him and Thor's going to meet up with him. Originally in the comics, they battle each other. Somehow Beta Ray Bill gets Thor's hammer and it blows everyone away because it's the first and only person besides Thor to ever wield Mjolnir. That can't happen, obviously, because we already had people wield it besides Thor. But a lot of people were like, Beta Ray Bill, hammer, maybe it's him going clink, clink, clink with Thor's hammer. I don't buy that. But I do buy that Beta Ray Bill might be in Guardians 3 or other movies to follow. We already saw Beta Ray Bill in Thor Ragnarok. Beta Ray Bill's image was on the Coliseum that Thor and Hulk fought and that Jeff Goldblum ran. So it's very possible they bring him in. It also is very possible that his image was on the Coliseum because his legacy is over and that was just a little shout out. Maybe we'll never see Beta Ray Bill, but I thought that was a cute little thing to add at the end there. The Russo brothers confirmed in a statement that this movie will end the cameos with Stan Lee. I think they said they'd filmed other ones for the new Spider-Man coming out in July and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive they confirmed that they were scrapping those and that Endgame would have the last cameo of Stan Lee. Now, if that's true, it wasn't a bad cameo, but I wish that they did something more. Someone pitched the idea. How amazing would that have been if Stan Lee did the eulogy? Once Iron Man died, I saw the funeral happening and I'm like, oh my God, is Stan Lee going to do the eulogy? But no, they didn't do it. And they had already used him earlier in the cameo, so I kind of figured that wasn't going to happen. But I think that would have been so amazing if Stan Lee did the eulogy at Iron Man's funeral. But didn't happen. Maybe there'll be a deleted scene or something like that, but I highly doubt it. In the funeral, many people were wondering, who was the kid they showed all the groups of people, everyone throughout the Marvel Universe we saw at Iron Man's funeral? At the very end, we see Thunderbolt Ross with Colby Smulders, and then Captain Marvel, and then Nick Fury. Right before Colby Smulders and Thunderbolt Ross, there is a young kid standing there all by himself. I have seen a million people go, who was that kid? That kid was the little kid from Iron Man 3. Now, why did they put him there? Was it just because they're like, oh, it's the kid from Iron Man 3 and we want to like have everyone there? Or was that hinting to us that he might take on the role of Iron Man from here? It's possible because he was very intelligent. And remember, he was helping Iron Man with the tech. He saved Iron Man, so to speak, in Iron Man 3. So maybe that's where they're going. I don't know because they didn't make a big deal out of it. I'm willing to bet it was just to have him at the funeral because everyone was there. A lot of people are like, well, Iron Man's daughter could take on the mantle. No, she can't. She's like 5 years old. Not even. She's like 3 or 4 years old. I don't know her exact age, but it was 5 years later and Pepper wasn't even pregnant. So she's got to be no older than 5 years old. What are they going to do? Do a 15-year time jump? Then everyone else is going to be older. Maybe one day Iron Man's daughter will be something. But right now, unless there is a extreme time jump or something, I don't see Iron Man's daughter being involved in the universe. I could see Scott Lang's daughter being involved, Cassie, because Cassie is actually a character in the comic books, and she is old enough at this point where they could do like a new Avengers. So is Hawkeye's daughter, stuff like that. You could bring other guys' children and daughters into it, but Iron Man's daughter is just way too young at this point. So maybe the kid at the funeral from Iron Man 3 is the next Iron Man. Just spitballing that out there too, just to like include some stuff. On that note, guys, I'm going to end it there. I'll probably do another one of these videos because I'm sure I missed stuff. And like I said, I don't like writing stuff down. I like just going off the cuff. I don't like reading and having scripted stuff and doing things like that. I like to just go off the cuff and speak off my mind because my ideas always change and my theories always change. So writing stuff down is just, it just holds me back. So I'm sure I forgot some things. I'm sure you guys, even after watching it 6 times, I'm sure you guys know things I don't even know or things I didn't even say. People are pitching the idea, it's time travel. All they had to do was go back to the 70s and change this or change that. Now, granted, when time travel's involved, there's 100,000 different things you could do to make it easier. But we all have to remember this is a movie and it's done for entertainment's sake. So I'm not nitpicking on a lot of things that could have been done differently to get to the end result. Because all in all, it was a fantastic movie and I like the way they did it. With time travel, there's so many different options. But you guys let me know what you think. Different things that you think they should have done, things I might have missed, things that bothered you guys, or things that I said that bother you guys. We'll all talk about it in the comments. I wish I could live stream, guys, but you know I can't, at least for the near future. So we're going to have to do it this way. But I'll talk to you guys in the comments. Write them down below. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.